Hello everyone, Mike Arnold here, co-founder Pack Trading Partners, along with Bob Iacchino. How's everyone doing today? Nice big rally in the markets. We talked about that. We did not even sell off at all. We pretty much opened last night. I did the live stream yesterday afternoon and took off from there. Here's the 1 hour chart. And you see never even looked back. Gap up and then rallying throughout the whole day. So you can see we came up here. I'll show you what I also did intraday, but is since pretty much right after the open, it got above the bullish area, which was here, this 4620 area, and stayed bullish pretty much for the rest of the time. So right now, you can see how that level was tested a couple times and held, and then rallying up. The other, let me just update the bullish area for tomorrow is coming in right around 4640. So that's where we're using the bullish area for tomorrow. The harmonics, let me adjust this. I even forgot to say welcome. Let me before I do this, let me say welcome to everybody watching. Thank you for being here, and if you're new here, please do consider subscribing, ringing the bell, and hitting the like button. See, I got ahead of myself. I didn't even welcome people, or I got so excited with this market analysis. So let's just talk about that. Let's get straight to the market analysis. 4640 for tomorrow is bullish line in the sand. You can see how we ran up. These are the levels I identified yesterday, and 4667 holding on a closing basis. For those who are learning the harmonics, went to there. Oops, didn't double click. Went to there. We do these in all our videos. We use these 12 and 25%, 12.5 and 25% harmonics from key highs and lows, which gave me 46.6825. That was the only addition I did to the levels today, and you see that we already had that 46.67 significant area right there, and that held with a nice little cluster. For tomorrow, let's just take a look at this. So in bullish mode, we're back to the 1 hour rotation zone. 4 hour rotation zone is still, until it gets back above 4660, is still technically in bearish mode, but I'd pretty much put it in neutral mode. So a rally above this 46.6975 high. We have a harmonic retracement and projection cluster at 46.80.50 to 46.8125. Up there, we have 46.93. And then, let's just see. Above that, where's that level coming from? Hold on one second. I just have to re-verify a level here. I'm actually going to take those off right now. And, all right, there we go. Sorry about that. Above that level, we are looking for, let me see how much fine-tuning this needs. That's not that bad right there. Maybe slightly, but this is an area 4700. 4700, above 4700. This level's coming down to about 4720, 4721 area. 4731, 4740 are the upside levels. Again, on any pullbacks, 4640 is very key for me. Again, if we drop below that, I am out of bullish mode. I will start watching for potential reversals. This 4624, 4625 area you see on these little pullbacks that we had. Remember, we had 4620 as a key level, but we pulled back to this area multiple times, so I will watch for potential bottoming patterns there. Below that, I'd be at about, at this point, 46.14. If we drop below that, I'm back to 45.97, then 45.79. So that's pretty much it with the S&P. Let's just take a look at the bigger picture. Back into neutral mode. So shifting, back into bullish mode, just shifting to neutral mode for one day with that sell-off on Black Friday with the thin markets, but rally back with the fears subsiding on the new variant. One thing I'd watch, we have a really nice line in the sand now. This 45.79, if that level does not hold, it's going, that's the clear line in the sand through this holiday season. If that level does not hold, here's the weekly, then I'd be watching for a return closer to the 4,500 area. So at least we have that nice little area to watch for overall. Other than that, see if it closed above this little key area, this little prior support that could have become potential resistance, pretty much sliced through it. So that's a positive for it. So I am going to continue to watch for uh, increased upward price action unless some major headline comes out uh, that would change its course. But now this does, it's wiped out pretty much 50% of this candle, which is another key thing, and it closed above this key resistance area and is back into the rotation zone. So I have to stay in bullish mode for the time being. Let's take a look at the NASDAQ, which was on a tear today, pretty much wiping out everything. Back in strong bullish mode here. Again, bigger picture, I'm still watching. If this comes up and does roll over, again, it's early here to watch for that, but I will watch for a potential head and shoulders top. Let's take a look at these key levels for the NASDAQ. We had this line in the sand being about 16,230. Getting above there. Could not sustain a move until pretty much the USA session. And then it got above there and then retested it, becoming support and running all the way up into the key highs. We had 16,421, 16,422 up there. So that was pretty substantial right there. The only other thing I was watching intraday was with this pausing bar, which gave me 16,395. So I was watching between that and this 16,421 for topping. We could not get a close above 16,421. Now actually trying to rotate up on the shorter term basis. Key bullish area for me tomorrow is now with this price action, it's got to prove itself. It's got to get about 16,412. 16,412 is key for me. Above 16,412. Let's just take a look at my bigger time frame chart. Above 16,412, again, I would watch for this minor 16,437, but then it's more significant, 16,494 to about 16,511 would be the next area, and then above that, 16,550 harmonic, and a prior volume area, so that's pretty key for me. Then above that, 16,632 support. If we do break below 16,411, I'm watching 16,350 area. Below 16,350, I'll be keeping an eye on about 16,300 with the first cross again of the 4-hour rotation zone. But we start dropping below there. Minor would be 16,251 and major would be 16,176. Again, also with the NASDAQ, it's full-blown back in bullish mode, even above the daily rotation zone, but it's got a really nice line in the sand with this low from Black Friday at 15,988. So that's going to be a very key level because you start dropping below that. We never did reconnect from a pullback standpoint with the rotation zone, but we start getting below that area again. I'm watching for a bigger pullback, probably about the 15,500 area. Let's see what else we have. I think that's about it with the NASDAQ, so staying in clear bullish mode for now. Dow, again, rallied, but a weak rally in the Dow. Rotation zone is crossed over and it is the weakest. My line in the sand is again from Friday's low, and which is also a defining point for the new trend line. If we can't hold that, it's not good for the Dow. I just wanted to get that out of the way. had a little trouble holding this 34,978, 34,980 area, testing it multiple times, just dropping below it even during the session, and then coming back out. Could not get a close above our significant 35,210 area. So just Dow's just acting really, really weak. Above 35,210 though, above, oh, sorry, our new bullish area is 35,107, so 35,100. 35,100 is a new bullish area. If we get above that, I'll watch for a retest of today's highs, 35,246, then 35,324, the major cluster area, 35,401 to about 35,414. If we did get through that, 35,442. We've got to take a look, because do not ignore, all right, I'm going to revise that. I said 35,324. I'm going 35,296 to 35,324, that cluster area, because of the declining 4-hour rotation zone. Then everything else stays the same to the downside. If we can't hold this key area, I'm just watching for a pullback to get about 34,850. 34,850 area. And then below that, I'll watch this trend line, the redrawn trend line, which tomorrow is going to come in about 34,700. Below that, 34,623, and then that's not good. If we get below that, that's not good for the Dow. The Dow is still back to bullish mode on the weekly, but this is getting very flat. So if we start driving below 34.26, I'd then watch for a minimum target pullback of about 34.165, and then probably then closer, if that didn't hold, down to about this 33.750 area. So that's what we're looking at there. I'm going to take a look. Another thing I want to touch on, and Twitter, you had Jack step down immediately today. So here's some key stuff with Twitter. Just wanted to point this out because we also had the how we do the gaps and the fills. Just to recap, Twitter double top pattern, which took a while to unfold, but it was triggered back, in August. And finally hit the first target area 13th of September, hit the second target area 4th of October, and finally hit the last target area at the end of October. Just wanted to point that out to everyone. And then it continued just lower. Had the harmonics once it got down to 51.75, because the targets we were using before that were the double targets. Below that, we had 49.05, then 46.35. You can see basing down to 46.35, holding the daily rotation zone, and then the gap up, and then a new low. So that's why I'm saying that is not bullish right now for Twitter. Key levels we're watching in this. Hold on 1 second. Key longer term levels we're watching is 44, 46, very minor, but then key areas from about 42.55 to 43.29, and then below that 39.13. One thing we talk about all the time is when you have these gaps, especially the big gaps, to watch what's the trigger we use for the gap fill. Well, we dropped from the prior day's close using the retracement harmonics up to the high, and in this case it was the 5-minute high. Then we watch for the 50% to 62.5 level to hold. It held briefly here, but then once you get a close below 62.5%, we are using the levels to go for the full gap fill. And then we also use these levels to trade between. So you see rallying up here, could not get back above the 50% on a closing basis, rolling over, and the full gap fill. Just wanted to point that out for people who are trying to utilize and learn that little technique. So a Twitter, again, in order for me to get interested in it, pretty much has to get above this 52 level again and out of the way of the daily rotation zone. Thank you very much, Ken. Ken, thank you for being here. $5 super chat. We'll get to your PayPal. Let me just get to, we have Abraham wants Xpeng, and then we'll get to PayPal. What did I do? I typed it wrong. There we go. Again, not much new here since the last update. Raising this harmonic a bit. But again, it still has not been able, besides this one little close above that, has not been able to get above this 54.29 key area. I would be watching right now. Level I'd be watching is this little support shelf right there, about 50 bucks. Dropping below 50 bucks, especially on a closing basis. You then have minor at about 48, but let's check the bigger picture. It's looking tired and exhausted, and it's looking like we're getting some toppy price action because we have this divergence, significantly higher high, lower high in the RSI. It really has to hold this rotation zone though. If you get a close below 48, I make it about 47.50 at this point. Close below 47.50 would take you into the weekly rotation zone. I'd be watching for the pullback closer to the bottom of the weekly rotation zone, right around probably about 44, 43.50 to 44, but that's only on a closing basis below this 47.50 area. Other than that, it's, you know, you have a little pullback, but it's still in bullish mode as long as it remains above the daily rotation zone. Let's see. Can purchase some PayPal today. 183.70 seems like the candles are moving sideways on the daily. Do you think potential for a breakout? Let's take a look at that. Oh, it's held this 187 harmonic really well on a closing basis. You know, you're down here. That was a pretty decent entry if you got the 183.70s. That's like right in here. I wouldn't, if this can't rally over to, especially tomorrow, then I'd watch. If it starts getting back down, especially takes out today's low, it's going lower. Remember, we still have the big topping pattern in. It's held this. That's a little short-term aggressive play, I'd say. So I'd keep your stop. And if it rallies up, let's get some targets in here. You know, if you start seeing it get above this 4-hour rotation zone, especially on a closing basis, then I would not ignore this 196 area. That'd be the top of the 4-hour rotation zone. And this, I definitely, from my perspective, again, I can't give trading advice, but from an educational perspective, I'd be looking to aggressively raise a stop and take something off at that level. You have a harmonic there, a key 50% harmonic. And then you're in the daily rotation zone. And then, again, I like to take stuff off and then trail stops. Because then if it keeps running, you know, next key area either to take a little more off or trail a stop even more aggressively is this 200. It's 268, but I just go to 200. And then above there, I'd watch the top of the daily rotation zone because anywhere in here, it can go up and rotate back down. That's why I would be locking in some profits and then aggressively moving up stops the deeper it got in the daily rotation zone. So it could have a little pop, but if it can't get traction, especially today, this got a hair of traction, but this is still getting a lot of selling pressure. You have a really good entry, but don't let that turn into a big loss, because if this doesn't hold and you get any NASDAQ selling pressure coming in, I'm watching then the 173 level and 180 first and then 173. 180 is from this massive, huge double top pattern. That is the stop reduction area. And then the 173 would be the harmonic. And the next key area below that is about 158.55 for the double pattern. So even if this does rally, this is why, you know, it's getting overdone. It's definitely overdone on the weekly basis. You're getting a little divergence down here on the daily basis. That's why, but I would not let it turn into a loser. or a big loser. I mean, if it sold off tomorrow morning, we start breaking below today's low, I would be out personally. If we continue a rally, just make sure again you move up your stops and take something off the table, because even if it ran to the other side of the rotation zone, it still favors rotating down, and you could always re-add on a new entry signal. So that's a little PayPal analysis and just a little trading advice. And again, thank you very much for the super chat. If anybody else wants to jump in and ever support the channel, you can always do it with the super chats. Other than that, I'm not seeing anything else. 183. 183. That might be where your stop is right now. That's what I'm assuming if you're keeping a stop right now at 183. Just take a look. I mean, 183, that's where your that's what I figured. That's your stop, and that's right here below there. I mean, yeah, that even gives you room right there. So even if it starts dropping below 183.20, it would not be looking good. So, but hopefully hopefully you caught a nice little low. You can get a rally. If we can have a continued rally tomorrow, maybe it's so oversold we're getting those daily divergences. Hopefully you caught a good entry and you can get some good price action. Just don't get greedy on this, is my advice when you're against the daily rotation zone. Thank you. Tomorrow's the last trading day before the November delivery numbers for Xpeng. So we will see how that is. But that's where I keep an eye on it really close, Abraham. I don't know your long-term position, but it has, I definitely know where my stops are. And hopefully at some of those harmonics, you might have either taken some profits or at least aggressively moved up some stops. With that, I will wrap it up for today. We will have a Tesla live stream for those Tesla traders. And even if you're not a Tesla trader, the reason I cover that also is because there's so many setups. There's so much great price action with the volatility. You can really learn some of these techniques. You can really learn some of the double patterns. You can really learn the harmonics. The harmonics crushed it in Tesla today. So I'd recommend tuning into that even if you don't trade it, because the whole point of this is learning how to do the levels so you can apply it to your own trading, whatever you trade. Futures, stocks, cryptos, FX. You can apply it, and that's the point. I'll talk to everyone later. Bye for now.